So I'm not a professional video maker or anything, and I've done some videos for my website and stuff before, but so it's pretty amateurish, so you'll have to forgive all that. But I just wanted to show everybody the mount since some people had asked for it. Now, I'll leave the debate up to everybody about how useful EFBs are in the cockpit, especially with such an advanced aircraft, so on and so forth. I've read the applicable ACs, and this mount addresses all of those. This is what I've come up with that I really like. This mount, at least for me, doesn't interfere, block the view of, or keep me from accessing any of the other buttons in the cockpit, and doesn't get in the way of my workflow. And I believe if you're going to have an EFB at all, and if you're going to use it, then it should be worked into just a natural, normal, everyday workflow in the cockpit. Therefore, it's there when you need it. It can supplement tasks if you want to display one thing while you leave your primary screens up doing other things. And then if you do have an emergency, it's there. It's already worked into your workflow. It's already set up, and things just continue on minus whatever your failure is. Now, when my airplane partner's flying the plane, if you don't want it in there, I can just take it out real quick. I don't like suction cup mounts for iPads. I just had them fall off too much. If you go really high, it's really cold or whatnot. There's a little bit more flex and bounce to them. And I can never get the suction cup mount to mount in the Cirrus window very securely, the double suction cup mount, because there's just enough curve to the glass where that doesn't work, and the single suction cup mounts just have too much flex. I don't want something that's mounted to the right window over here with a suction cup, whereas if you try to do that on the left side, it blocks your view of the PFD and of some buttons, because of that left window being shorter than the right, because the main glare shield and MFD PFD are mounted, slid over to the left side in the Cirrus. So this is the mount I came up with. It gives you a standard RAM ball that you're able to use whatever you want to with. Here I have just a regular, kind of the initial old school RAM tab tight HD iPad holder. This was for the original 9.7, so I did have to do my Dremel to widen out the main power opening a little bit, and then open up this part right here a little bit so that my cables would fit unrestricted. But it didn't weaken the bracket or anything. I imagine maybe they make a newer one. I have a medium arm for me. I found obviously the tall arm is way too big. I initially thought I'd use a short arm, but then I couldn't quite get the angle right, like you were seeing on the pictures. So the medium arm, I think it's a 3-inch arm, works perfect. And I'm 6'2", and so all the pictures that you see in this were taken with me sitting in the seats, with the seats adjusted for the rudder pedals, and me being 190 and 6'2" tall, so if that gives you an idea of scale. Alright, so sitting on the airplane, it would be sitting like that, and the two rear J-bolts would be facing that way, and the front J-bolt would be sitting that way, grabbing the grab handle. I'm going to try to stay out of the video, so it's a little bit more cumbersome trying to do it. I've timed myself not hurrying or anything, just out of curiosity. It takes me about a minute to put it on. One of the J-bolts, you just drop it over the top, hook it over the top of the front grab handle. That's that whole surface here where you can it's even labeled grab here. And then two of them slip just over the front of the metal panel that protects the underside of the dash. And I verified that there's no hoses or wires or anything anywhere near within like 4 inches of any of these J-bolts. Different makes and models as far as generations and years. Obviously that's something you'd want to verify. And so what I normally do is slide on one of the ends and then just thread the knob on a few turns like that, and then slide on another one and do the same thing. Put it on like that. And just like anything, you kind of want to, when you put on a bracket or anything, you kind of want to get all the bolts in and adjusted loosely first. That way you can slide it around, get it right in position where you need it, and then firm them up. So there's the third one. I put it through the hole. So now they're all on, and then I just slide it. And at least in the G3, the 08 G3, there's a darker piece and a lighter piece. This is a dark black piece of plastic dash covering, and then the gray piece on the outside. So I found that with the medium knob in my setup, I have it pretty much where the T part of the bracket is about halfway between the center console and the end of that black, and then I just firm them up. Again, I would caution, depending on how strong you are, you don't have to crank this on with all your might. Once it starts to make contact, 2 or 3 turns. All right, so probably once it starts to make contact, 3 turns. Like I said, it doesn't have to be all out with all your strength. Just firm it up, and it's nice and secure. So once you get that all on, that's what it looks like from the bottom, the top, and then I don't know about all generations. My power port is here in the middle. So I got don't go cheap. A good power slot that has the little chips in it to do fast charging. The good ones are 15 or 20 bucks. If you don't, try to be cheap and get one of the $1.99 ones. And I just routed the cable right underneath through there, and then it runs right along the floor, and then I just kind of tucked it underneath the very edge of this thing so that it's right there. And then when the bracket's not mounted, or if I'm not using it, the cord's not in the way, I just tuck the cord. See how it's just barely underneath there? And I just tuck the cord here on the top of the documents binder, so it's not in anybody's way, and it just sits right there. And then of course when I'm using it, you don't even see it, and it's not in the way because it comes out right there, right behind the iPad, and you can plug your iPad in. I like doing, I got this plane because I like doing, long trips from Maryland to South Dakota and northern Wisconsin and up to Connecticut and down to Florida. So on those trips I want my iPad plugged in. They run cooler if they're 100% charged, and then you just keep them plugged in, whereas if you run them down and then plug them in, they tend to heat up as the battery charges. That's just inherent in the way the battery charging technology works. So it stays nice and cool if it's charged when I start out, and I just plug it in and it never really runs down at all.